Hello, Red Devils, and welcome back to another episode on Glory Reds FC with Max Sauce coming back with a late double. Ah! What's good, D? What's good, man? What's good?
Oh man, I'm mixed emotions right now. I don't even know how to feel. I'm just I don't know, man. I'm just laughing. I just can't stop laughing. I just can't believe that we pulled off this win, and I can't believe that it came from Scott McTominay. Out of all people, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to take any shots, but he's the last person that we thought would actually come through and do something.
But honestly, D, like when I think about it, like he has done this for us quite a few times. So him scoring for me wasn't surprising. I was just surprised at how long we took, and like there was no hope. Like I was just like, you know what? I don't see this.
The game was done and dusted.
Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting it, and then Smexos does his thing, and then I'm thinking, but you know what? Scotty does this every once in a while. He spoils us with these nice cameos. He does spoil us with these cameos.
100%.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode. It's your boys Benito and Pastor D, and we are here with a quick match reaction. I think this is the first time we're doing this one because we wanted to make sure that when everything is still fresh and we just get it out there.
100%.
So, D.
Yeah, man.
Just before we got on here, you said you had bad things to do. Like you had bad things to say.
Not necessarily bad things.
Okay. So in this kind of like situation, we'll just start with the bad news. And I think we should start with what we didn't like about the game. Because I think today there's a lot of credit due for certain players.
True.
And I'm not like trying to blow them up or trying to say anything now. I'm just looking at the circumstances that we are in and the setup that we had to do and how certain players just stepped up. I really want to give them praise for that. But let's start off with the negative because, man, it took 96 bloody minutes for us to score a goal. I was watching David Beckham's series this season, and I went back into the whole Fergie time. They showed a little bit of Fergie time, and today I don't know, man. I just felt like, and you know what it is, D. I didn't say this to you. I didn't. But I wanted to talk about this.
Okay.
And this was going to be the most disappointing thing for me if this had happened, if we had lost today's game. And here's the thing. Do you think you know where I'm going with this?
Nah, not really. I want to surprise myself. I don't want to deep it.
Bro, I am superstitious. You know how I feel about these things. Sir Alex, granddaddy, lost grandmama.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
Bro, we scored today in Fergie time. I know it's a coincidence. I know. But we scored in Fergie time today.
Yeah.
And we won. Meaning it was homage to Mama. It was like this game was for you. This is my superstitious take into this whole thing. I wanted to say it to you before, like yesterday or something, but I was like,
you didn't want to jinx it.
I didn't want to jinx it. And I'm so glad the football gods came through for us today, man. But anyway, dog. Yeah, let's get into it. I needed to put that out there. And R.I.P. grandmama.
Yeah, rest in peace. And our hearts go out to the Fergie family. And yeah, man, we just wish them all the best so they can, pull through in these difficult moments. Now, look, look, we're supposed to be celebrating today, regardless of how we got the win. And so I'm going to try my utmost best to keep the negatives as short as possible. So the usual. We had our preview and we spoke about the things that we didn't like, and I think today we saw more of it. Again, it was reckless passing, indecisive decisions, poor defending. Even when you saw how that goal came about, it came from our centre backs. With Maguire with his weird sticky out leg, I'm trying to defend, block a ball. That didn't happen. To Lindelof's very half-assed clearance, that just rolled and landed in the shooting line of the Brentford, what I mean, player. And then Onana again, just not being in a correct goalkeeping, position to block that ball, because that ball literally went rolling in the back of the net. That goal again, another one that could have been saved, which was not saved, So it was just an accumulation of all things wrong. Even when you see how the build up to the goal was just mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. I think it came from a free kick that I think Amrabat took or whatever, which was not successful. It went to a Brentford player, and then they got hold of the ball in the midfield and then, started charging down the pitches, and they went and scored their goal. So, a lot of misplaced passing. I think that was one of the big themes of today. And it irritates me because, these players, they keep insisting on this Hollywood style of passes and their back heels and their flicks and outside what. They don't want to just keep it basic. They don't want to keep it simple. They don't want to keep the game free flowing and moving forward. There's a lot of, this, we're just going to flick it and kick it like they're in training and just hope that the next man gets the ball when they make a silly pass. So I was actually very disappointed because I expected so much with Amrabat playing in the midfield that the game would be at least more progressive, that the game would be a bit more better. There'll be more, structure in the midfield with Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, and Amrabat. I thought having them in the midfield would give us a much more significant advantage, and it did not. It was more or less the same, usual United that we get. You understand what I'm saying? And ultimately, the game boiled down to exactly what I spoke about yesterday, that United score goals in moments. We don't score goals because they are built up and there's a play, there's something systematic that comes out of it. It's just scruffle, boom, something gets found, and then all of a sudden the ball's at the back of the net. You check. So I don't want to be negative about the win. You know what I mean? I take the 3 points. I don't care how they come about. But we have to be very careful, because if we're not going to still address these issues and think because we won the game 2-1, and think that, all is well. You understand what I mean? We played well. We didn't play good. We lost this game. You know what I mean? We lost it. If this game was 90 minutes, we lost it. We came back, fortunately, in extra time and managed to steal the game back. Other than that, we lost the game, And I'm not saying United fans shouldn't be happy in this moment, but there is really a lot that needs to be reconsidered moving forward. And I'm so happy it came at a time like this, because it gives Erik ten Hag and the players enough time on the coaching staff and whatever to actually figure out a proper direction moving forward. Lindelof wobbled off the pitch. I don't know if that's another injury added to our list of players. If it is, it's really, really, really not looking good for United at this point in time, But, man, other than that, I think the last thing I'd like to touch on is just the combination of play. There were times where it was looking positive, but one thing I really noticed was that these players still don't have that chemistry between them. Because when they were trying to make those combination of plays, it's like the players kept getting shocked. They kept getting it was almost like, I didn't expect to get the 1-2. You understand what I mean? Because it's like pass, move into position, then they'll get the ball back and say, you know what I mean? So it's either they'll slightly overrun the ball or not make a run a split second, early or in time or whatever, because they just didn't expect that 1-2 combination. So you'll see when they were trying to make those combination of plays, it was always something. It looked like it was a training ground routine. It looked new to them. It didn't look like something that they practiced, over time during the week. and it was something that they were used to or something that they were expecting from their teammates. It was like, oh, you've passed me the ball. Oh, now I've got the ball. Oh, we're doing the 1-2 thing. You understand what I'm saying? So those things most probably need to be worked on more. And I can sort of understand because you look at the past 4 games, the team really hasn't been consistent. You know, we've had different players playing in different positions and we've had different players starting. So we haven't really had a consistent lineup probably in the last 5 fixtures. Yeah, so I guess these players are just, not used to playing with each other, maybe in certain places of the pitch or whatever. But yeah, man, I think this win has come at a good time. I'm so happy that yesterday I did predict a win. So yeah, I just couldn't see ourselves losing this one. I would admit 90 minutes, I'm like, the game is gone, we've lost. But as soon as we got the first goal, I'm like, there's enough time for us to get a second one. And yeah, man, like I said yesterday, we had to win this game. We had to, and I don't care how it has come about. If we didn't get these 3 points, I honestly don't know where United. I don't know what type of conversation would honestly be having about United at this point in time. So yeah, so that's it. That's all the negative out the way from my end, and I'll hand it over to you, and then you can point out like maybe the good things that you saw in the game that I missed out.
No, before I actually do that, I wanted to touch on the few moments, or the few things that you said. You mentioned something about we have not been having a very consistent team in the past 5 games. And that's why some of the combinations that you were talking about, that you were saying that we need to work on, obviously they haven't improved. Now, I'm one guy that likes to analyze United in their current squad, in their current state. You know what I mean? Yeah, in their current state. And
yeah,
for where we are and the players that were there and available in terms of defense, midfield, and everything, I think it was an okay game. I think it was good. And I know, because here's the funny thing, D. What you said was absolutely correct, because if we have all our players right, those same mistakes that you are taking, the I don't want to say it like you mentioned it like that, but those negatives, I think they'll be reduced because there's some familiarity with certain players. Like if Luke Shaw comes back, there will be that overlap with Rashford. I hope it'll come back because I'll get into Rashford. And then our defense. You saw how, what's his name? Hey, sorry, my voice. I was screaming. I was screaming in relief. Like we needed the win. You mentioned it. We don't care how the win came. We needed this fucking win. I wanted this win. So my voice is a little bit hoarse.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like Lindelof, you look at Lindelof, the game that he had, it wasn't very good, but it was okay based on the circumstances that were there. Dalot, can I ask you something? Did he have a good game or a bad game or an average game?
Dalot started having a good game when Anthony came on the pitch. So basically what you said, when we have a team with familiar players who are used to playing with each other, they bring out the best in them. So before Anthony, Dalot's game was nah. You know what I mean? As soon as Anthony came on, as soon as Anthony was substituted on, Dalot's play started becoming better. He started making much more better runs. He was in better space. He had much more open space, because Anthony dragging the defenders passed it to Dalot. Dalot had more space to make much more better passes into the box. Whereas before, when Anthony was not on the pitch, he never had a player with him on the right-hand side to really pull the players away and make those overlapping runs and have like a clear shot pass into the box.
Yeah. So, okay, just to add on to the negatives as well, for me is Onana. I'm sorry, that goal, I'm sorry. I will not accept it. I am not accepting it. I am not accepting it. I am not accepting it. I refuse. That goal, I don't know what it is about Onana. Is he... there were moments also in the game. There was this one cross that came into the box, and I saw how slow he was to react to it. Then there was that other moment also where Dalot actually saved him. If Dalot wasn't there, that was a goal. I am not accepting this.
I'm also
For
not.
for me, this was the biggest negative of the game, because
Yeah.
we could have had a clean sheet. We could
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
We could have. I understand the mistake. The mistake came from Casemiro. I'm sorry. I don't blame Maguire. I don't blame Lindelof. I don't blame Evans. You know, these things happen. You know, when a team counterattacks you and you scramble back, these things happen. If you don't get into the right position, the ball is going to ricochet and do all sorts of things. So that ball was lost in the midfield by Casemiro. And then the way Onana dealt with it, I am sorry. That was unacceptable. David De Gea, I know David De Gea has pulled off some howlers, some serious howlers. But today, and I think that him accept like that goal made it much more difficult for us.
Yeah.
Now, I want to jump into the positives. And one thing I want to point out is something that I pointed out yesterday when I was talking about possession, us having the possession. One of the positives, yes, we had possession and we didn't do much with it. We didn't. However, you notice that when we do keep the ball in whatever sort of way, and remember, we are accepting this game like we don't care how the results came, right? We are saying, I'm messing with you.
You know what? Before we jumped into this episode, I knew we're gonna jump into this whole thing about possession. I know Ben is gonna jump into this possession thing. I'm like, we're going to have a talk about it. And I still feel that regardless of us winning this game, I still stand by my point about we're having the possession.
It's fine.
I just don't see that as a sign of progress.
I want to tell you where the problem is. The problem is our front three, D. Finished.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but our problem is our front three. We are not getting enough out of these guys.
Yeah.
I was listening to the game and one of the commentators kept on saying we need to get the ball to Rashford all the time. And I'm like, whoa, what? The more dangerous looking player for me in that first half was Højlund.
Yeah.
Højlund was looking like he was a pest. He was stressing those guys a lot. Now, I don't want to get too much into Rashford because I actually enjoyed the substitution. I was like, yes, I think it's time that we start getting this kind of thing, not keeping Marcus Rashford for a very, very long time. Now, his moments on the pitch, yes, he was looking very, very threatening. But I'm sorry, I have this question. Okay, so what? He was looking threatening. So what? Like, I'm fed up of, like, you know, when I hate this because I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because I keep on talking about looking at United in their current form, in their current state, and the way they are right now. And somehow I have this mix up or this gray area where I look at Rashford and I know he can do better and I want him to do better. And for some reason, I keep him in that he is better than he actually is category instead of actually putting him in the right category. I don't know if that makes any sense. And then I get mixed up with it because now it's like, okay, he's done a decent job, but he could have done this. He could have done that. That moment where he tried to do this, he could have given a pass. Like, am I asking for too much? Am I?
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the position and the rank that Rashford has at Manchester United. Am I wrong? Like, am I wrong to want more? Am I mad? Am I mad? Because I feel like it's almost like I have a vendetta against Rashford. It really does feel like it. And the more I look at him, the more I study the way he plays, I feel like, nah, Ben, there's something that you're not seeing. There's something wrong. Maybe you're being too hard on Rashford. What is it, D? Can you explain to me? What is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that I'm getting mixed up with when it comes to Rashford?
I don't think it's. You know what, man? I think this situation with Rashford has got more to do with the team as a whole. And
You see, I don't even want to hear that because the manager said the same thing, and that is bullshit.
let,
Wait, what do
let,
you
let, let,
mean?
let
Rashford
me
is
explain.
the
Let me
output from.
explain.
There
Let me
is no
explain.
way you can build a team around a player that's not. Man, that's frustrating. Anyway, go D. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
hear you.
Go.
I hear you. But when you think about it, right? This team is not performing as a whole, right? And Rashford was sort of like the player for us last season, who basically, carried our season on his shoulders. And so, because we expect so much out of him, we tend to forget that it's a team sport. We can't expect him to go out there and do it by himself. And that's why I said that you can have a player on that pitch who is on good form. But if everyone else around him is not, how do you expect him to also perform at that level? You gave the analogy of the workspace. Um, you know, was it you? I think it's
The
you,
A
Peter,
team.
the A team exactly. And then if there's like a bad thing, then it drops the level.
The B team
Exactly.
in the A team group. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So the same applies in football. Like if majority of the players are not going to be up to stand, you can't expect the ones who are good to just carry the team by themselves all the time. And this is not me saying that Rashford had a worldie of a game. He definitely had a way better game than he has had in the past, probably 2 to 3 games. And that better game came in the second half. So I'm not going to sit here and lie. First half, he was okay. Second half, he started getting into it. Like you said, he was looking more threatening in the second half. I do believe if he was given more time, he would have produced something, either a goal or an assist. So I think in this situation, I do believe he was brought off. I think probably too early, or maybe even shouldn't have been brought off at all. You understand?
What?
Because he was actually starting to watch it go. He was actually starting to kick it up a gear, right? Now, obviously, it's easy to say that because we went ahead and won the game. So everyone's going to use that as justification for it was good that he came off. Look, we went and won the game. You understand? But in actual sense, in my opinion, okay, maybe other people are seeing it a different way. I thought Rashford actually started growing into the game and started playing much more better and started making much more positive runs, much more positive passes as well. And he actually, if you notice in the second half, he was actually hanging around a lot in the midfield than he was up front. Most of the positive passes that she was taking were from the midfield when he was finding players. It wasn't in the final third, right? She was doing a lot of that and then still coming to the byline and doing what he needed to do. And we all know that in the last minutes to crunch time, the winning team is going to just sit back and the team that's chasing the lead is going to be on the front foot. You understand what I mean? So it literally could have been anyone of our forward players who could have been running to the byline and putting balls into the box. It could have been Balestri. It could have been Garnacho did it. It could have even been Rashford even when he was on. You understand what I'm saying? But I think at the time of the game, when there was actually still some, constructive play, Rashford was actually starting to do the right things in the second half. For me, I think Martial should have been brought on way earlier. I think straight in from second half because, again, he looked very positive coming into this game. His positioning, his touches, his play, winning free kicks. Or obviously, his decisions didn't go his way, but we know he's one player that wins free kicks in positive areas, and I've pointed that out a lot, and that is a strategy in itself. So I would definitely love to see more of Martial, either starting games or coming in straight off the bench from halftime, because I don't think he's not getting enough game time with his current fitness levels. So we can't keep working on eggshells with Martial and say, oh, we can only give him 10 minutes to play, 15 minutes to play because we're trying to protect him. For me, it honestly doesn't make any sense. If we want to get the best out of Martial, he's not one of those impact players that you're going to bring in like the last 10, 15 minutes like Garnacho. He needs time. You know what I mean? You need to bring him in for either a whole half or he starts the game, and that's where you're gonna get the best out of him. So I want to see more Martial after this international break.
I actually want to see more of Martial and Hoyland.
Yeah,
I really want to see that because they when you look at the way they play, they are almost the same player, just with different capabilities. But then the things that they do are literally similar. So
yeah,
there would be some sort of chemistry, a lot of nice 1-2s because they are thinking along the same line. So I would really also want to see that.
mm.
But man, I feel like this is criminal of us to do because I want to give a shout out to our center backs.
Okay.
Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire. Man. Ah, 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 ah. Look,
You know
I'm
what,
not
man?
wait.
Okay.
I'm not saying they had a worldie. I'm not saying because you need to look at did we concede a lot more goals after that? There were a lot of scare moments. There were a lot of mistakes. A lot of these confusions were happening because of Onana. There was
Yeah,
that moment where Onana tried to give Johnny Evans a hospital
yeah,
pass.
yeah,
Again,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
Onana.
Mm.
Onana. Just like I'm not being biased. I'm really going to give Harry Maguire
Yeah,
was playing a lot of nice balls. He was
yeah,
aggressive, he was tackling, he was trying to stop the plays. Him and Evans,
yeah,
weirdly enough, the giraffes of the team, they somehow worked. They somehow worked, dog. I am not even lying. Like it
yeah,
was, I was impressed because I kept thinking, because after the first goal, I kept thinking, man, so we're about to let in 3 or 4 more coming in
yeah,
here because these big guys, I'm sorry, but
yeah,
they held their own. Just a couple of mistakes. Onana for me was the one that was kind of destroying that thing, but I enjoyed. Oh man, Harry Maguire was putting crosses into the box. Come on, come on. I'm going to give Harry Maguire the shout out because man, he needs it. We've been on his case the whole season. Like I'm not saying it's redemption, Maguire. Like if we have our fit players back, like I'm sorry, but for today
yeah,
and because we won, I'm giving him a shout out. Him and Johnny Evans, they really did their business today. I was
yeah,
impressed. Harry Maguire was winning a lot of balls in the boxes when he was like the free kicks. He was trying a lot, which we wanted it. I enjoyed seeing him not having the pressure of being the captain and just playing his game. Just the normal Harry Maguire. I was happy. I was very,
yeah.
very happy. Yeah.
I think the only player I can give a shout out to is Scott McTominay today. And
Yeah.
I know this is being very harsh, but I'm going to explain why. As soon as we conceded, this team did not look like they were making any extra efforts to get a goal back. When we have gone one up to other opposition teams, they dial the gear up by 1,000. And they go and get that equalizer back ASAP. Because they do not want to drag this thing out until the end of the game to start scrapping for points. We allowed this game to go down to the wire for us to scrap for these 3 points. I remember shortly after we conceded the goal, a pass was made to Rashford and he didn't control it properly, right? And he misplaced the pass. Fam, when the Brentford player got the ball, the Brentford player was probably about like maybe 1.5 meters away from him. There was no urgency to be like, oh, I just lost the ball. Let me try and recover. Nothing. He just looked at it, watched 2 passes right in front of his eyes. You know what I mean? Only when the play was progressing to our side, that's when he's like, let me pick my head up and start jogging back and see if they might need by helping defense. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I know it seems like I'm picking on Rashford, but I'm not, because this was happening with a lot of players, right? That was just one instant that just annoyed me the most.
Bro, Rashford, bro.
Because of his body attitude after he lost the ball, like he couldn't be asked. You know what I mean?
It's not the first time he does it. All the time.
And that's why I'm saying that a lot of these players during the whole course of the game had the same attitude, you know, of just like, we have time. We have time. I'm like, what do you have time for? Are you playing for an equalizer? Are you playing to win this game? What do you have time for? You know what I mean? Get on
Name
the
another
fucking
player.
ball and get the ball back. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Name another player.
Fernandes was doing it as well. After misplaced pass, Bruno was doing it as well. After misplaced, and Bruno, there was this one pass. I'm like, why? Why, Bruno? Why? They were, man, I get it. I get it. Bruno likes, all these Hollywood passes and all of these chances. But again, when you talk about our current state, if we're struggling with stringing 3 or 4 more passes, why are we trying stuff that's just not going to work in our favor? You know what I mean?
Wasn't Bruno better when he came into the midfield? Weren't we getting some sort of traction when he came into the midfield?
He was. I'm not refusing. Like I said, there are players that just played pop in the first half, and there's some players that played pop the whole game, and there's some players that, I said,
Bruno, we know why he played pop first half. He was playing
out of position. But when you look at Bruno, even when he did play in position, what standout thing did he do that you can actually remember that he did?
In the midfield?
Yes. What standout thing did Bruno do today?
No, the thing is, it didn't look pretty. I can give you one of the best players on the pitch today, Amrabat. But then the way he was playing, it wasn't looking nice. But he did his job. And look, Bruno, bro.
I get that. Look, I get that. But I'm saying is, if you're not going to do anything stand out, and you're just going to be running around with the ball making, I don't want to say pointless passes, but nothing that turns out to something. Why are we celebrating it? For what? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't remember anything notable. You understand? And for me, if I don't remember anything notable, then you had an okay game. There was nothing stand out about it. Because if there's something stand out that he did, then I can say that, yes, being moved from A position to B position literally helped us in this game because it helped like this. Like I gave the example with Dalot. First half, Dalot was nonsense. As soon as Anthony came in, there was that 20-30% difference that you could visually notice. That,
it's the same thing with Bruno when he came into that number 10 position. We started pinning, we started having more of the ball after that because we were now putting more pressure on them. They were having their moments every now and then trying to break us. But then when Bruno came in, we started pressing them even more up front.
It was the last stages of the game.
Mason Mount started off good and then faded. And then it's just one of those things where, when he went to the right, it's where he even disappeared even more.
Yeah.
Which was funny because it's like, okay, but we want this guy to be on our right wing sometimes, or somebody to be a utility player, but it didn't work. But when Bruno came into that position, things started to tick. And I actually wanted to ask you, did you have a problem with the Casemiro Eriksen substitution?
No, I didn't.
I also didn't, because I realized, no, we had 2 destroyers in the team.
Exactly.
And it would have caused a lot of problems. When we got Casemiro out, there were less of that ball busting. And I think that was one of the smartest substitutions for me today. Because I was like, hey, I get it. I get it. Because now Eriksen came in there. He put some sort of calm. Amrabat and Casemiro were just throwing, we know. Amrabat, I know for some people might not like the way he plays, but when he came to us, I was expecting this. You see, even like Bruno's petulance, yellow cards and what. We knew because in Sporting, Amrabat, he doesn't play nice football. He doesn't make it look pretty, especially if, you look at the way we were under pressure. The game was just not, you can say, on our side. So things were just going awry, So, yeah, man. So for you, there's not negative. There's no actual positive apart from Scott McTominay.
Look, I'm happy to see Amrabat in the midfield.
Yeah. He's about to go back, though.
Yeah, of course. Because I mean, we've got no defenders left now if Lindelof is injured. I was happy with Rashford changing his game up in the second half. I was happy when Anthony came on because it made the low play better. But overall, man, I'm not gonna lie, man. For
It
me,
was an
like,
it was an
oh
okay,
yeah,
man. It wasn't an
I'm
average
just
game.
I'm just taking the points and I'm walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to talk about the
yeah,
game because I'll end up I'll start lying. I'll start lying to myself that we had an awesome game and we didn't. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And like I
It
said, I can
was
only give my props to Scott McTominay for just being clinical, for being
yeah.
clinical. Yes, he came on, he did his thing. Thank you, Scott McTominay. I hope this. Look, I don't know how to put this. I hope this is not going to be like, okay, Scott McTominay, the next game you're gonna start in the midfield with That's just what I'm saying. Like, thank you for the win. Thank you. You know what I mean? But that does not. It does not what you call it.
That's what I'm worried about too,
You
bruh.
understand what I'm saying, fam? I hope Ten Hag is not gonna be like, now you deserve to start. You know,
Yeah,
there's like, oh yeah, you're missing the point here, Ten Hag. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It was just one of those like, yeah, Scott McTominay, thank you, but it shouldn't be. And that's why probably why I was laughing, because I'm like, oh boy, here goes another 5-year extension on his contract, you know. Here goes Scott McTominay going
I,
to get the number 10 from Rashford. Like, United, fam. United, how they are. They're just so, I don't know, they're so Hollywood with everything they do. It's
yeah,
like, we have this Hollywood moment and then all of a sudden, and I think I even said this in our match prediction when I talked about how we're going to win this game. It's going to be this whole like theatrical win. You know what I mean? It's just going to be like boom, boom, fireworks. Oh my God. And then it's just nonsense that carries on. And then it's going to be like, what I like about the ESPN guys, man? The ESPN guys will call it for what it is. Those guys don't bullshit. That's why I like listening to that punditry. But then there's gonna be like some people out there who are just gonna be like, like you said, oh, Fergie time, the United, coming back, and they're gonna be like all these misleading headlines. You know what I mean? The boys are back, and Scott McTominay to the rescue, and and then it's just going to like they're going to exaggerate this win, more than it should be exaggerated, and it's going to drive a lot of people into this like mindset of false hope, and they want to come back from the international break, get pumped and fueled up. You probably see Scott McTominay starting lineup and we're like, yes, go. You know what I mean? And this is going to be bullshit against Sheffield United. It's going to be like back to square one. I'm not trying to be negative, but, it's like, remember just before the game started and we're chatting in the football group, you saw how what's this word I'm looking for? Sarcastic. You saw everyone just being sarcastic in the group, like it's just it's so funny, you know what I mean? Because you want this team to win, but you know how we're playing currently, you know what I'm saying? And you're just like, you're just like, I want to believe you guys are gonna go and beat Sheffield after this international break, but hey man, the way you guys are playing, anything can freaking happen.
Yeah. No, man, I hear you, man. Man, say what's in your heart, bruv. You're free here, man. It's just between you and I. Just say what's on your heart, bro. Like, let them know.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you feel, and I feel the same way. I'm not sitting here. Like, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I celebrated those goals with passion, with heart. I was screaming. I think you saw when we jumped on how sweaty I was, bro. I was.
Yeah.
I think the whole neighborhood heard me scream, bro. I was, and that was coming from a passionate, fan, United scoring.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit here and be fooled by that. It's almost unfair to say be fooled by that because we are fans. We're supposed to be protecting these guys. We're supposed to be being behind them. So saying we'll be fooled by them, I kind of like feel like we're taking a dig at them. But then it is the truth. They have a history of disappointing us, and currently things have just, the way we started off this season, things are not well. So we are not going to sit here and say, okay, you guys have won, and then we're just going to jump on this cloud and think that, nah, everything is good, all guns are, nah, it's cool. Nah. There's a lot of improvement. And I think majority of us, even the fans that are listening, you and I, we believe that one of the biggest problems to us right now is the fact that we have a lot of injured players. We have a lot of injured players. And right now, we are really trying to do, like, United is a makeshift team at the moment. We are just trying to plug round pegs in square holes, trying to put this guy here and then this guy. I honestly, truly believe that once we get everything, like all the players back, I think we're going to get cracking on. However, like we said, we're not going to sit here and start saying, ooh, there was so much nonsense that was happening in that game. And we expect these guys to improve. This is bullshit. Onana, nah, man, nah, Onana, nah, Onana, nah, oh, nah, oh, nah, This has to end, bro. Like, nah. Like, you see, D, I'm now at that moment. Remember the time when David De Gea was having his howlers and Dean Henderson was knocking at the door saying, yo, get me in. This guy is messing up. Get me in. I'm in. And remember, you had to snap me back into reality and say, hey, Ben, have you forgotten who David De Gea is? But at that moment, I had reached this. I was like, I'm not having this anymore. I'm not.
Yeah.
I am at that moment right now. I want Altebnd in. I don't give a shit about the amount of pings Onana gives. I don't care. His pings don't make some, but man, what happened to the Champions League passing? What happened to it? What happened to it? The Champions League final passing? All those piercing things, all those three. What? Nah.
Yeah.
I am here.
Yeah.
I'm going to back him. I'm going to back him because he's a United player. But in my heart, I am done with Onana.
Yeah.
I don't see this moving. His record doesn't show improvement. It shows him leaking goals. Every fucking season, he's leaking goals.
Yeah.
So am I going to sit here and start saying, wait a minute. So now we need to get top of the range defenders. We need V12s. Like, we need the most expensive defenders at United so that we can stop this leakage. You know, the balls don't get to Onana. That's what it means. Because D, let me tell you something right now. Onana, if he doesn't improve, bro, we're going to remain mid-table.
Yeah.
We're going to remain mid-table because he's going to concede and then we're going to have to fight. If we're not scoring goals, it's going to be a fucking problem, dog.
Yeah.
Like right now, we're not scoring goals. Not Scott McTominay. We're not scoring goals. Our front three are not scoring goals.
Yeah.
They're not. So we're going to reach that point where now we're going to concede more goals. And then we're just going to be like that, just balancing in that mid-tape. What position are we right now? I didn't even check the tape. Like,
I haven't checked as well.
It's disgusting to me right now. Like, I don't even want to know.
Let me just have a quick check.
Like, but for some reason, when we were down, like 1-0 up until 90 minutes, I was already comfortable with us being in 14. I was like, hey, that's where we deserve to be at the moment. But you know what it is. So now I don't want to check because I had that attitude. You know what I mean? I don't want to check and see where we were.
Let me just tell you. So previously we were 10th, right? So guess where we are now?
Where?
We're still 10th. And you know what's keeping us at 10th, fam? What's keeping us at 10th is goal difference. Because Crystal Palace, we're square points with Crystal Palace, but they're on 0 goal difference. We're on -3. We're square points with Newcastle, but they're on 11 goal difference. In fact, Newcastle, has the second highest goal difference after Man City in the league. Yeah. And that's basically why we are still sitting at 10th. Chelsea are behind us. They only have 11 points. I thought Chelsea is actually ahead of us. But yeah, and Newcastle, by the way, haven't even played their 8th game. So obviously they're going to.
And Crystal Palace are about to smash Nottingham Forest.
Exactly. Hey, that one. You know what? I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. It could be a draw.
That one could be a draw, or Nottingham could upset them. They could upset them.
But yeah, man, this is my issue. I don't know what to do about it because he's a new player.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna sit here. I think it's best I just keep quiet. Because I've already said my piece. It's only up to Onana to prove me wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At this point, because I don't see it getting any better. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. Yeah.
All right. No, I hear you.
I hate to judge players quick like that. I really do. But
True. But you know what, ne? I honestly want to hear more from our community, especially on these podcasts. And so I think during the course of this international break, I really want to get a lot of guests, people onto our podcast. And I want to just hear, I want us to hear their opinion. I want us to hear what they have to say about, what's going on at this club, the players, how do they feel about the players, how do they feel about the managers? Because there's a lot of opinions out there, a lot of very interesting opinions that I've been hearing in the chat, stuff like that. And I'd really love to give them a platform to come and speak their mind, and hear what they have to say. And, we can sort of, come up with our own, evaluations to say, okay, what's what I'm saying? What is the overall community saying about a lot of these things that we discuss? But yeah, man. But other than that, I guess that's it. I'm happy we got the 3 points. Scott McTominay definitely man of the match. I don't see anyone else who's going to be getting man of the match. And yeah, man, I just hope we come back out of this international break with a lot of the players which are injured in a better, in better health, basically. You know what I mean? Fit enough to start. And again, once again, we not shout out, man. We're sending our regards to the Fergie family. This type of
this game was for her, man. This game,
yeah,
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Man. But other than that, do you have any last remarks before we close this episode?
Man, there's so much. Like, I have feelings, but it's just like I want to give also a quick shout out to Rasmus, because you said something yesterday. You talked about him. You compared him to Haaland, and I feel sorry for him in the sense that he needs to be getting more. This team needs to be built sort of around him.
Yeah.
Like from minute 1 when he started pressing, I was like, my God. And I just sat there and I started looking at people like Rashford and I was like, okay, Bruno presses, like he goes on these solo presses. But I was like looking at Rashford and I'm like, Rashford, like I was touched by it because I was like, hey, Rashi, I wish you would do something like this as somebody that has always been here.
Yeah.
Can the energy that Rasmus is showing be matched? Can you guys try? Like, is it too, like, back in the days when I played football, and I'm not saying I played professionally or anything like that, but when I played, and every time we had a player that came on, right, that had good quality, or like somebody better, I don't know what it is. For me, my game always came up, because I'm always like, hey, this guy's got too much quality, and I cannot match what he's going to bring if I don't raise my level.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And I just, man, Rasmus could have had a lot of goals today. Am I wrong?
Yeah, he could have.
A lot. And maybe 2, even a hat trick. Like he could have. Small little fine margins. But anyway, that's a nah. Actually, I didn't have anything. Nah, I didn't, my guy. I didn't have anything.
It's a conversation for another day. We'll
The
make it for another
conversation
day.
for another day. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Thanks. This is the first time we're doing this, and I hope we carry on. We just hope that situations or circumstances keep us,
Yeah.
i.e., electricity in Dar es Salaam. But yeah, man. What about you? Do you have any last remarks?
Nah, I think I've said my piece and I'm happy.
All right, my guy. Wrap it up.
All right. Thank you once again for listening to this episode of the Glory Reds podcast. You can catch us on your favorite podcast listening stations on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Zencaster, Castbox. Catch us everywhere. We are there. Don't forget to go onto our website, gloryredsfc.co.uk. You can jump onto our community page where you can join our fantasy football league, join our WhatsApp group, and join our social media accounts where we're going to be keeping you guys up to date every time we release a new episode and give you guys updates on what's happening with the club. Once again, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Glory Reds podcast, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.